88 degrees in Jacksonville, a slight wind, and an early start for the Jaguars and Falcons. Nikki Kimbleton joins us from the sidelines. Nikki?
Well, Sam, the breeze actually feels pretty good down here. You know, we have a jam-packed show for you from the sidelines. First of all, we're going to be telling you how if the kicker has a good game, it could mean that you get some free Firehouse subs. You're going to make sure to want to stay tuned for that. Also coming up, what Fred Taylor is up to. He is actually broadcasting on these big screens that you see behind me during the game. We're going to be checking in with him and telling you more about that. Plus, it takes a lot to fuel this machine that you see behind me. How much food these guys go through in a week, you won't believe it. I'll give you one hint. 15 pounds of peanut butter, Sam. 15 pounds. 1 week.
In just 1 week. That's just what we need. Mike Smith, the former defensive coordinator for the Jaguars, has been the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. The defensive coordinator for the Jaguars from 2003. Has been now 7 years with the Falcons, and Gus Bradley in his second year with the Jaguars, former defensive coordinator from the Seattle Seahawks, who built that defense that ended up winning the Super Bowl. The Falcons won the toss and have elected to receive, and tonight we'll see Casey Redfern kick and probably punt as well. Josh Scobie will not play tonight. They haven't decided whether or not Brian Anger will play and punt. If not, Anger will hold for extra points and field goals if necessary, but Redfern probably will do the punting as well.
Asking a lot of those kickers tonight. Redford's going to be busy.
What's interesting, Mark, is that they don't know Scobie's status for week 1 next week, so it may be a roster spot that they have to have for Redfern at this point, and in turn, it may mean somebody else is hanging out there in week 1. Redfern will kick off to one of the most dangerous kick returners in the history of the league, Devin Hester, who is 9 yards deep in the end zone, and we're underway in game 4 of the preseason at Jacksonville. From the 2, Hester takes it, cuts right, has a hole, is finally knocked out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. That's where the Falcons will start. Dwayne Gratz makes the play as the Falcons will set up without Matt Ryan. Instead, T.J. Yates, the fourth-year player out of North Carolina, will start for Atlanta. The defensive players, Mark, Andre Branch, Dwayne Gratz, and J.T. Thomas are all guys who will have an impact for the Jaguars this year.
Yeah, Sam, they really will. I'm surprised they didn't move Andre to DB. He got an interception. Quite impressive one last week against the Lions.
1st and 10 from the 20. Yates has Hester as the left wide receiver. The give is deep into the backfield. And that's a gain of about 3. It'll be a gain of 4. 2nd and 6 for the Falcons. Yates, you might remember, came in as a rookie when Matt Leinart was injured. He played for the Texans at the time and led the Texans to a victory over the Jaguars. He ended up starting 6 games that year as both Matt Schaub and Matt Leinart were injured. And he is from Atlanta, so back home as a big star in high school and now back in Atlanta with the Falcons. 2nd and now 7 as he drops to throw and dumps it off into the flat. Nice tackle made once again as Patrick DeMarco makes the catch, and the Jaguars have had that covered here in the preseason, that little dump.
Well, it's really important for the Jaguars. They're not willing to give up the big play, Sam. If there are completions underneath that the Atlanta Falcons are going to hit, they're just fine with that. They just don't want to give up the big play like they did last week.
Up front, the Jaguars have a variety of different people. You saw Ziggy Hood, number 92, is in the game as well. Andre Branch is in there on 3rd and 5. Yates to throw over the middle. We'll see where they mark that. They do mark it for a first down. That is complete at the 31, a gain of 6 as the Falcons have their first down of the game. 1st and 10 from the 31. Branch, number 90. Telvin Smith is in the game. 50. Demetrius McCray is at that left corner. 35. There's the give, and a good penetration in the backfield. Very solid play. As you see, the Jaguars absolutely brought the wood, and Sherrod Martin makes the play.
Really excellent play. He steps up. Typically, you don't see safeties in the backfield. That's one of the things that Gus Bradley wants to emphasize. Not only giving up the big play, but being very aggressive at those secondary positions, pressure on the quarterback as well as stopping those runs in the backfield.
On defense tonight, we'll see McCray, we'll see Geno Hayes and Telvin Smith, Grant, Ziggy Hood, J.T. Thomas, Nate Stupar, Avery Jones will play tonight. Here's the throw over the middle, and almost caught and dropped. Pretty courageous play by Devin Hester as he knew he was going to take a hit there.
Yeah, Sherrod Martin was on his way to making a big hit, and I think Hester had probably heard a little footsteps there. Didn't want any part of that.
The one-hand attempt.
Yeah, that leaves the receiver very vulnerable when you're spread out like that.
We'll see Chris Przinski in the backfield. Leroy Reynolds will play. Dwayne Gratz as well. Rashad Reynolds will play. Antoine Smith is one of the deep backs for the Falcons with TJ Yates. He's in motion as now the wide and covered by Demetrius McCray. 3rd and 12. Pressure and taken down as the Jaguars record their first sack of the game. The Jaguars with a host of different players. Branch was there, a variety of other players. -5 is the play, and the Falcons will now have to punt. Ryan Davis among those who got there, as well as Ziggy Hood, number 92. And the Falcons will punt as the Jaguars will have their first possession. Tandon Doss will see his first action of the preseason. Doss, and we expect to see Ace Sanders as well. Doss, number 17 for the Jaguars, takes the punt. Well back, he'll field it at about the 11. Doss makes a move, stop at the 15-yard line. And there is a flag on the play. We'll see how that goes. Scoreless here in Jacksonville with 11:30 to play in the first quarter. Still very warm as the sun is setting on the west side of the stadium. And eventually will go fully into the shadow. And we'll see what the call is from Brad Allen. Brad Allen is usually an umpire, but they are giving him an opportunity as a referee here tonight to see how he does. And we'll hear his first call.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 35 of the kicking team went out of bounds, did not return immediately. That 15-yard penalty is assessed from the end of the run. First down, timeout.
Antoine Smith was called for unlike because he came back into the field of play. We'll have the Jaguars' first possession. Hard punt and the penalty. The Jaguars will take over. 1st and 10 on the 31. Blake Bortles has played very well in the preseason. You can see his numbers there. Solid completion percentage, 435 yards and the touchdown to Hearns last week. And the quarterback rating mark of over 100.
That's impressive, and he is exceeding everybody's expectations. Fans are thrilled to see him perform tonight. Unfortunately, Sam, if they stick to the plan, this could be the last time you see Blake Bortles for some time.
Denard Robinson is the deep back. Eric Katani from the Naval Academy is the fullback. Bortles under pressure and will have to take the sack almost immediately. Bortles goes down. He's expected to play about a quarter today, as the Falcons sack him for a 10-yard loss at the 21.
Yeah, that's not how you want to start off a game with a sack. He gets his head around, turns around and sees 2 Falcon defenders. Smart thing though, tucking the ball, going down, and not doing anything foolish with that football.
You see some familiar names, but in different positions on the offensive line. The Jaguars have that shaken up a bit. It's 2nd and 20. Bortles to throw, and does, and it is dropped. The possibility of a catch was there, but Brandon Barden, the starting tight end in this game, as Mercedes Lewis will not play, can't bring it in. The first-year player out of Vanderbilt. On the offensive line, the Jaguars will have Cameron Bradfield at left tackle, and then they will have Jock McClendon at left guard. Brandon Lindner starts at right guard, and Sam Young will start at right tackle, number 74. 3rd and 20 for Bortles and the Jaguars from the 21. Play action, Bortles looks, fires out into the flat, and it's caught. Hearns with the reception, and he gains about 2, and that brings up 4th and 18 for the Jaguars, and they do send Casey Redford in to punt.
Not what they were hoping for in the first drive, but you know, Blake Bortles, he made the smart decision there. There was nothing open downfield. He went underneath. Many times, young quarterbacks, they press too much. They want to get that ball down the field, especially, Sam, when it's 3rd and 20, you want that first down so bad. Sometimes the best thing to do is Just throw it underneath, get a completion.
Casey Redfern will kick from about his 10-yard line. And once again, Devin Hester is back to receive the punt for the Falcons. At about the 21. Steps back inside the 20. Good contained by the Jaguars, and a nice job on special teams as the Jaguars don't let him get outside where he is most dangerous. Falcons with their second possession coming up. This is Jaguars football. Scoreless with 9:55 in the first quarter. Jaguars and Falcons in the fourth and final preseason game. 56-yard punt by Casey Redfern. He will find a spot in this league somewhere, it seems, based on his preseason performance. And already, Mark, the Falcons have changed quarterbacks as they're bringing in second-year player Sean Renfrey from Duke.
It was a quick night for TJ.
He's still standing right there on the sidelines with his helmet in his hand, so I don't know if we'll see him again. But Renfrey brings him to the line of scrimmage, 1st and 10 from the 28. Whistle on the play and a flag. This will be procedure on the Falcons.
False start. Offense, number 61. 5-yard penalty. First down.
False start on the Falcons, moves it back 5 yards. Jacquizz Rodgers is the deep back for the Falcons. And recognize at left tackle is Jake Matthews, who was a teammate of Luke Jokel at Texas A&M. Down goes Renfrey. Tries to get up, and the Jaguars cover that quickly. Andre Branch is there. It's a hard thing sometimes, Mark, when you try to step out of there, you can step on
Yeah, you look at the feet right there many times. It's happened to me too many times. Those centers step back, they're a little anxious, and they get stepped on, and there's nothing you can do. Not a good start for
so far.
Renfrey.
Renfrey brings 5 wides to the line on 2nd and 20. Jaguars with 7 defensive backs in the game. They rush 3 and drop 8. Renfrey runs and has to slide at the 24-yard line. As the Jaguars had that covered up, J.T. Thomas among those who were there.
You see here, quarterback looking downfield, well covered by the Jacksonville Jaguars secondary. Nothing to do but to try to get some positive yards.
If you're patting that ball, you get to pat number 3.
Yeah, it's time to run. It's time to run or throw it out of bounds.
Somebody's coming from somewhere.
Especially with our defensive line. Somebody's going to hit you.
Somebody's coming. Jaguars force a 3rd and 15. Split backfield. Renfrey tries to duck it off, and the ball is tipped and incomplete. And that will be a 4th down coming up for the Falcons. Tyson Alualu ended up with the ball. Nice play by Branch once again inside number 90. Good play by Alualu, getting his hand up on the ball and creating a play. And as you told us many times, Mark, if they can't get to the quarterback, they're taught, get their hands up, get in the way.
Get in the way, get their hands up. I tell you, Tyson Alualu, what a steady player. Good defensive lineman for us for a few years now. He knows how to get pressure on the quarterback.
Once again, Tandon Doss lets this one go out of bounds. And the Jaguars will have it near the 30-yard line, as we'll see where they mark it. Jaguars and Falcons are scoreless in the first. Here, this is Jaguars football. Meteorologist John Gaughan pinpoints dangerous weather where you live. The Weather Authority on WJXT Channel 4. Always watching, always tracking. After the 54-yard punt, they mark it at the 25. Where Blake Bortles will bring the Jaguars to the line of scrimmage. Bortles 1 for 2 for 2 yards. He has Marquise Lee and Cecil Shorts at the receiver positions. He once again has Brandon Barden at tight end, and Denard Robinson is the deep back. Bortles with play action and the naked boot. Looks deep, finds a man open, and he is complete as the Jaguars are able to move the ball downfield. Marcel Jensen, the free agent from Fresno State, who the Jaguars like a lot, gain of 21 and a first down. The Jaguars go up tempo.
Yeah, this is something that Blake said earlier today, he needs to work on the up-tempo, getting the play called, getting the team to the line of scrimmage, and getting that ball snapped. A point of emphasis for Blake Bortles tonight.
Jaguars with 2 rookies in the center of the line with both Bowanko and Linder. The hand is to Denard Robinson, who gets stacked up there with about a gain of 2. Our Gatorade Prime to Perform player is Denard Robinson tonight. The quarterback out of Michigan, who was a wide receiver last year, asked to be a running back this year, has put on about 10 pounds, has kept his speed, and is the leading rusher for the Jaguars with 82 yards on 14 carries. Denard Robinson is our Gatorade Prime to Perform player. Jaguars with 2nd and 8, almost intercepted as Bortles tried to float it in there. Troy Bierman had dropped back into coverage from his defensive line.
Well, Sam, sometimes you drop back and you see those linebackers barreling down on you. It's tough to see underneath coverage, or any coverage for that matter. He'd like to have that one back. That was a poor decision with the ball there.
Under pressure now with 3rd and 7 for the Jaguars. 3rd and 8 from the 48. Shotgun, 3 wide receivers, and split backfield. Bortles drops the throw, pressure from the backside, and he will be taken down once again as the Jaguars don't give him enough time to look. Malachi Goodman with the pressure after the pressure from the backside, and he records the sack. A loss of 10, it'll bring up 4th down for the Jaguars.
Yeah, Sam, this is frustrating. You know, Blake went into this game knowing he had some young linemen in front of him, some guys that are playing new positions. A lot of pressure there. Not the way he wanted to play that 3rd down, of course.
Timeout on the field as the umpire has called timeout. Casey Redfern is deep to punt. They're changing the ball.
Getting that kicker ball in there,
Bring
Sam.
that kicker ball in there. That's right. Many people remember that the NFL has standardized the ball because some teams would put it in a microwave, feel it with helium, all kinds of stuff.
Those kickers are so picky.
Redfern with a nice punt is waved off by the Falcons, and they'll take over with that ball going out of bounds. Jaguars and Falcons are scoreless here in Jacksonville. This is Jaguars football. Scoreless in Jacksonville. 6:23 to remaining here in the first quarter as the Jaguars and the Falcons are sorting things out with now TJ Yates back in the game at quarterback for the 3rd series.
Sam, I haven't seen that before, rotating the quarterbacks in a preseason game like that.
Last time I saw that, Tom Landry was doing it with Roger Staubach and Danny White.
Listen, if Tom Landry did it, maybe it's a good idea.
It could be. Yates back in the game, 2 of 3 for 7 yards. Antoine Smith is the deep back for the Falcons. Trips left, Yates drops to throw. Looks over the middle, little skinny post that is caught. Takes it well downfield. Jeremy Ebert with the catch.
Familiar name.
That's right. Guy who spent some time on the Jaguars roster, 2nd-year player out of Northwestern. A gain of 27 and a 1st down for the Falcons.
So the quarterback does a good job with his eyes downfield, delivers, like Sam said, a skinny post on time. Very tough to defend, particularly with corner on outside leverage. Good completion.
Slot left in an I formation for Yates. 1st down from the 42. The give is to the deep back, who finds a hole and finally is touched down at the 35-yard line. A gain of 6. Antoine Smith with the carry. 2nd and 4 coming up for the Falcons. On defense, the Jaguars have Josh Evans in the game, as well as Chris Krasinski, Leroy Reynolds, Will Blackman, Tyson Alualu, Ziggy Hood, Andre Branch, number 90, on 2nd and 4. Staggered backfield to give us to the deep back. Good solid hit by Telvin Smith that blows the play up in the backfield. Antoine Smith has nowhere to go. Blackman makes the tackle, but wow, if we can see 50 come through here, it makes the entire play.
Boy, it really does. Corner gets the edge there, and we're seeing some aggressive play by the cornerbacks making tackles in the backfield. I like it.
Loss of 5, 3rd and 9 for the Falcons. Yates with 3 wide receivers to the right, single back, looks over the middle, and it is caught for a first down as Atlanta gets it to the 29-yard line, a gain of 12, and that'll be another first down.
Nate Stupar was very close to getting his hand on that one. Tried to break that up. The quarterback does a good job of just getting the ball there on time, very accurate.
Eric Weems sat down in the open spot and makes the first down catch. 1st and 10 from the 29. Two wide receivers to the right and a single setback. Yates drops, throws. Nice route run and complete. Looks once again like Jeremy Ebert with the catch. Mark, we have Chad Henne on the sidelines, who is not going to play tonight but joins us here on the broadcast. Chad, good evening. Warm down there tonight. You warmed up as if you were going to play tonight. Little technical problems with Chad's microphone. We'll get back to him here in just a moment. Here's the first down by the Falcons, who run it right up the middle, get the ball to the 3-yard line. Devontae Ferguson, Devontae Freeman from Florida State. Number 33, a gain of 8, and that takes it down second and actually about 2. They can still get a first down here at the 1-yard line. Give once again to Freeman, who takes it down to the 1, and that could be a first down inside the 1. Gain of 2. Freeman drafted in the 4th round by the Falcons. Was on that national championship game team last year. A gain of 2, and they call it first down. 1st and goal from inside the 1. Jaguars changing some defensive personnel.
Well, the Falcons have their goal line personnel in. Good test for the Jacksonville defense here.
Freeman is the deep back. Yates gives it to him. Finds a spot. Big collision at the line of scrimmage, but he does fall into the end zone for a gain of 1 and a touchdown for the Atlanta Falcons, who take an early lead. 6-0 over the Jaguars here with 1:59 to go in the first. Good stick at the line of scrimmage. You could hear it all the way up here.
Yeah, that was a pop. You could hear it up here. And it's one thing about our defense, and Gus Bradley, you know, it's paramount to Gus Bradley that he has guys that can hit, that are physical, that can deliver a blow. A lot of young players, a lot of veteran players that know how to tackle, that can be very physical. That is very important to Gus Bradley's defense.
Freeman officially listed at 5'8", 206. Tough guy to tackle when he gets a full head of steam there coming to the line of scrimmage. And you can hear this.
A touchdown. That play is under review.
Nate Stupar with the initial contact, and they are reviewing to see whether or not his knee was down before the ball crossed the line, the goal line. And that would be hard to say. The ruling on the field was touchdown, though. We'll have the review right after this commercial break here, as this is Jaguars football. Back in Jacksonville with 1:59 remaining.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Freeman with the touchdown, an 8-play drive of 70 yards. 4:24 off the clock. Yates went 3 for 3 in the drive, and Mark, the collision with Stupar and Hayes along with Freeman at the goal line was pretty dramatic, but he was able to fall into the end zone.
Yeah, it was a solid run by Freeman and resulted in some points for the Falcons.
Freeman 3 carries for 11 yards on the drive and the touchdown. Matt Bryant will attempt the point after, and again in this 4th preseason game they have moved the point after attempt back to the 2-yard line. It'll be interesting because they're talking about in 2015 completely doing away with this and moving it all the way back once again to the 10-yard line and or the 15, see how that goes. Back after this. This is Jaguars football. Back in Jacksonville on a beautiful night for the 4th preseason game. Jaguars are trailing the Falcons 7-0 as the field is just now fully enveloped in the shade. Jordan Todman is back to receive the kick. This one will go 9 yards deep, and they will tell him to stay in there as the kickoff goes well back. Blake Bortles is still in the game as expected. Thought he'd play about a quarter, but Mark, without any production and not much going on, we may see him a little longer.
Yeah, I expect to see him a little longer. Obviously, they want the young quarterback to feel good about this last preseason game, and this is an important drive. Clearly, he wants to move down the field and score some points, and of course, we'd like to all see that as well.
Bortles with Robinson as the deep back. Once again, Eric Katani, number 43 from the Naval Academy, is the fullback. In motion, Marcel Jensen. Bortles with the pitch to Robinson. Gets to the edge, turns it up, and a gain of about 4. This is something that Robinson had worked on in the offseason. Getting to the edge and go ahead and taking it upfield instead of just turning around and going the other way. Up tempo here after the game, gain of 5. Jags fans, Dreamfinders Homes wants to give a lucky fan $200,000 toward a Dreamfinders home. Visit your local Dreamfinders model or visit dreamfindershomes.com for details. 2nd and 5. Robinson finds a little sliver there. A gain of 3 will bring up 3rd and 2 from the 28.
Well, we knew Denard was going to get a lot of work. He's getting some runs on the edge. He's getting some runs inside, and I think Gus Bradley and Jed Fish, they want to see if he can hold up. If he's a good runner between the tackles, as you said, Sam, earlier, he's gained 10 pounds. He's stronger. He's bigger, and should be able to hold up.
Good test here for this young offensive line. Between the 5 up front, they have 31 starts in the National Football League. 25 of them are by Cameron Bradfield. That's Katani in motion. Hearns is to the right. And the Jaguars call timeout. Bortles didn't like what he saw.
Timeout. Jacksonville. Their first. It will be 30 seconds.
3rd and 2. And Bortles is coming over to talk with Jed Fish, and Chad Henne is in on this as well. "30-second timeout. We'll keep it right here. Join your Jacksonville Jaguars to celebrate the 20th season and participate in the Jaguars Throwback Thursdays, starting next Thursday, September 4th, and every Thursday leading up to the regular season home opener Sunday, the 21st, against the Colts. Share your pictures in Jags throwback gear with #JagsTBT. The best pictures will be shown on the world's largest video boards here, and 4 lucky winners attending the game will get a chance to go on the field before the game. 3rd and 2. Bortles over the middle, but not complete, and there is a flag in the backfield. Cecil Short's the intended receiver, so we expect to see him a little more than a quarter today as well. See what the call is.
Illegal use of the hands, by hands to the face. Number 92, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Travian Robertson called for the hands to the face. This is a point of emphasis this year, Mark.
Yeah, it really is something they're cracking down on and has been emphasized in obviously the last 3 preseason games, tonight as well. They're just trying to clean it up for that defensive lineman.
Jaguars get a first down at the 33. Bortles at quarterback. Gives it to Robinson, who gets to the edge, cuts upfield, sets his blockers up, and is finally knocked down at the 37 or so. Gain of 4. 2nd and 3. Kamal Ishmael with the stop. Guys looking around on the sideline saying, all right, do I have to play in this game? Maybe not.
When does regular season start?
Coming up. Bortles on 2nd down with the naked boot. Finds Jensen once again. Jensen might have enough for the first down, or maybe just short after the completion. The Jaguars really like this play. They like the play action and then the naked boot and get the guy dragging across the field.
And what's most important is establishing the run. Make that defense think that you are running to the ball. There will be a lot of bootlegs called this year by Jed Fish with Chad Henne and perhaps Blake Bortles. Very important part of the offense. Some misdirection and allowing your quarterback to get on the edge and throw easy completions.
That's the end of the first quarter.
That is the end of the first quarter. The Jaguars do trail 7-0 here, but have the ball and are moving on the Falcons. Jaguars still looking at a lot of different personnel, but we'll be back with the beginning of the second quarter. Jaguars down 7-0 here on the Jaguars Television Network. Football is brought to you by Everbank, the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and by Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good. Back in Jacksonville as the Jaguars will start the second quarter with Gus Bradley looking on, down 7-0. Blake Bortles still in the game at quarterback. Drops to throw, pitch, and throws it deep. Open is Lee, and that'll be a touchdown, Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's exactly what we wanted to see. Excellent read by Blake Bortles. Poise in the pocket, patience, finds an open receiver. Talked to Jed Fish before the game. He said, look for Marquise Lee. He's going to get the ball early, and we saw just that.
Little hitch in the backfield by Bortles. Lee made the double move, and 57 yards later, he's in the end zone.
Well, Blake just stands in there confident. Boy, that's good to see that Marquise Lee.
One of the questions about Bortles early in his professional career was his ability to throw the deep ball. Here, he looks like he fires it just fine.
I think he did just fine right there.
Redfern in for the point after. And that's up and good. And yes, Brian Anger did hold there. And the Jaguars tie the game at 7 on the first play of the second quarter. The Jaguars now have a tie game with the Atlanta Falcons. Nice play by Bortles, nice route by Lee. And in talking to the coaching staff all week long, they really like how Lee has progressed, understanding what it means to be a professional.
And as a professional, just understand what is asked of him, what his expectations are. Obviously, it's about work ethic and attitude, not trying to get all the catches, but just doing his job. When the ball comes to it, catch it, make some positive yards. They're very fortunate to have Marquise Lee. He's got a bright future here in Jacksonville.
Dave Caldwell was amazed when he was still available there in the second round, based on the year he had as a sophomore at Southern Cal. And the one thing, I've talked to Marquise Lee maybe a half dozen times, never heard the guy once make an excuse about anything. I mean, he's just like, I got to play better, I got to be better, I got to be more open, I got to catch that ball. Never a reason why anything happened except I've just got to be better.
You know, and when you hear things like that, those are the guys that go on to have very good careers. It's not about them, it's about the team. Marquise Lee is a team guy, and you're right, he was a steal.
Eric Weems is deep, waiting to accept the Redfern kick. Redfern kicks this one 8 yards deep, but Weems will bring it out. 5-10. Stop there at the 15 and maybe not even. Forward progress just almost to the 15. Nikki Kimbleton is on the sidelines. Nikki?
Well, Sam, Mark, I'm here with Robin Sorensen, owner of Firehouse Subs. You have something pretty cool to share with the fans. They can get a free sub. How's that work?
All right, so field goals for Firehouse. All right, if you go online, jaguars.com/Firehouse Sub, sign up. Every time Scobie or Redfern tonight kicks a 40-plus yarder, you get a free sub with the purchase of a chip and a drink.
Now, I mean, you have met Josh Scobie, right? You're going to be giving away a lot of sandwiches, Robin.
Hey, I'm prepared, and it's a challenge. I already told him it's a challenge, but I will say I didn't read the fine print of the contract. I thought I got to play this season, but apparently that's not the case.
All right, now, I heard that tonight we have 2,000 sailors. The Jags gave them free tickets to come tonight.
Right.
When you heard that they were coming, you guys decided to take it a step further and introduce them to Firehouse, because these are sailors that are new to our community.
That's right. So we had 1,300 sailors plus their family move here last week in 2 new ships. So today we fed them and all their dependents free of charge, and they're here watching this awesome game.
And I know the fans at home are pulling for those 40 yards and longer now. Free Firehouse.
That's right.
Back to you guys.
As if we weren't hungry enough already.
I could use a sub right now.
7-7. Falcons have the ball and a little movement there on the line. Flags will sort that out.
Ball start. Offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Call is against the Falcons. Peter Coons, the third-year player from Wisconsin. 4 Falcons so far for 30 yards. The Jaguars have yet to be penalized in this game. Second and at about 15. Yates looks, oh, nice solid play. Did not take the fake as inside Ryan Davis took a look, never took the fake, and just took the quarterback to the ground.
Yeah, that quarterback really he had no chance. Ryan Davis comes off the edge, leaps over the left tackle, makes a good sack there.
6-yard loss, moves the ball back inside the 3-yard line, brings up about 3rd and 21 or so.
21, Sam. I've been in a few of these situations. It's not fun, especially
back
we're near the 2-yard line.
I formation and bunched up in the middle. Jaguars expecting the ball to be run, and certainly is. Up the middle they come and stopped for just about a gain of 2. The Jaguars will get the ball back and should get it in very decent field position. Very solid stop once again for they continue to play with a lot of the guys that we're going to see during the regular season. Leroy Reynolds, you see there, number 56. We'll see a lot of Leroy at that new, what they call the auto position, which is still a linebacker, but a guy who's asked to do a lot of different things, particularly against the run.
Yes, it's you have the auto, you have the Lido, all these new names from Gus Bradley's defense, guys that can really make an impact.
Jaguars will get the ball and maybe inside their territory. Tandem Doss takes it and gets to the 49-yard line before he is dropped, where the Jaguars will have 1st and 10 from the 49. 52-yard punt and a 5-yard return on the Jaguars television network. What it takes to be the best in fantasy football. Join the Jaguars Armchair Quarterback League powered by Xbox and draft, make trades, sign and waive players in hopes of being the ultimate fantasy football general manager. Win great prizes such as Xbox gaming consoles, signed jerseys, and many other great prizes. Register now at jaguars.com/fantasy. Some changes for the Jaguars as Blake Bortles goes to the sidelines. Bortles, with the 57-yard touchdown pass, gave the Jaguars a tie game 7-7, and Stephen Morris is the new quarterback. Tries to dump it off to Denard Robinson over the middle, and that's incomplete. A couple of other players as well. Cody Booth has moved into that left tackle position. We still have Luke Bowanko at center. We also have Drew Nowak at the left guard position. Nowak wears 64 and Booth is 73. There's Bowanko wearing number 70.
Huge opportunity for Bowanko this game. Starting at center, taking a very close look at him.
Morris in the shotgun. Hands it to Robinson, who gets to the edge, finds one spot but can't elude that one tackler, and a gain of 2 will bring up, a gain of 3 will bring up 3rd and 7 for the Jaguars. Jordan Todman will come in the game, and we'll see what they have up their sleeve here on 3rd and 7. Good field position for the Jaguars to start this drive. So far in the first 2 plays, only a gain of 2. Cecil Shorts and Allen Hurns are still in the game. And the Jaguars are also leaning on some players like DJ Tialavea, who is in at the tight end position. Flag is called, and there is a penalty. This will go against the Jaguars as they have stopped the play.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
You hear that, Mark? A false start on the center.
Yeah, I think he just got a little antsy with that ball, and
there are specific rules about how much he can move his head, what he can do in there, and how he has to get the ball back to the quarterback, particularly in this shotgun situation.
And this is new for Luke. I mean, this is a huge learning experience for him. He's being tested tonight.
Morris on 3rd and 12. Looks downfield. Dumps it over to Todman. Todman down to the 42-yard line, and that'll bring up 4th and 2. Let's see what Gus Bradley decides to do here on 4th and 2 from the 42.
He's going to go for it.
Looks like he is going for it. A gain of 10. He sends a couple of other players back into the game as Brandon Barden comes back in the game, number 85. Eric Katani is back in at that fullback position. Todman is the deep back. Morris brings him to the line of scrimmage. 4th down, play fake, looks downfield. Looks for an opening, may not get to the line of scrimmage and does not. And the Jaguars will turn the ball over on downs. The Falcons will get it back in a tie game. 10:18 remaining, as this is Jaguars football.
Fair to say that TJ Yates struggled the last couple of weeks. Also fair to say he's really had a good night tonight.
And you got to figure that another week in the system, absorbing the system, just was brought in. Remember the trade? For those of you who follow the Falcons, Akeem Dent goes over to Houston, so TJ arrives late, didn't have all of offseason to absorb the offense, get more and more comfortable, and he'll show up tonight.
On a first down play from the 45-yard line to the right side is Anton Smith with a flag, more than one actually, down on the play. Let's see what Brad Allen's crews come up with here. And by the way, most of that first unit offensive line is still in there in front of TJ Yates, so they're getting some work.
It's good to see Karimi getting a lot of work at guard. This was an area they wanted him to work more in. He came in as a tackle in the National Football League, had an outstanding career as a collegian.
Yeah, yeah.
Brad Allen asking Gus Bradley what he wants to do.
There are 2 fouls on the play by the offense. Holding, number 76. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 45. That penalty is 15 yards. It remains first down.
Lamar Holmes and Maurice Hagans, the two folks that are being talked about right there. TJ Yates, when he was with Houston, he was a 5th-round pick of the Texans in 2011. He came in that wild card game against Cincinnati, starting for Matt Schaub, who was injured. Led the Texans to a 21-point win over the Bengals, and they went to the next round and eventually lost to the Baltimore Ravens. But needless to say, when the Texans called TJ Yates' number, he was usually ready.
Well, don't forget that was a monumental win for the Houston organization.
Yes.
That was their first postseason win ever, and TJ Yates is the guy directing the controls.
Well, Yates and everybody else watching another huddle by the officials here on a 1st and 24
Correction,
after the
it
penalty.
is second down. Second down.
Correction, it is second down. 2nd and 24. Now we're ready.
You sure?
No, but I thought I'd say it and hope. Under 10 minutes, second quarter. Good protection. Out here to Mickey Schuler, the tight end. Jacksonville bench like that defensive effort. Gain of 3.
Yeah, late throw to Mickey. Mickey coming back. He was in the concussion protocols for a week or so during training camp. Has had a pretty good camp for this team as a pass-catching tight end, and that one was a tough one. Just a 3-man route, and TJ had to dump it off to Mickey late, and a lot of Jaguars there to make the hit.
So 3rd and 21. Yates quickly to Anton Smith at a bit of a convoy. Oh, here he goes, coming out of the pack and going to the end zone. He's headed for the south end zone, and it was an easy trip after breaking the initial contact, 66 yards, and breaking news, no flag.
Well, talked about this guy earlier. He's 0 to 60 and nothing. And this is a screen play, a standard play on 3rd and long. A lot of offensive coordinators recall. Try to call the 3-count screen, get Tone out and with some linemen in front. You see Cons out in front, just stepped out of 2 tackles, and if he gets a crease, it's over. You could go ahead and put the numbers on the board.
Matt Bryant will try to tack on the extra point. I think you saw Matt Bryant there with a big smile on his face briefly, thinking, well, we want to see some more of that when the bell rings September 7th against the Saints. Anton Smith turning a screen pass into a touchdown yards after catch situation as Bryant tacks on the extra point. Falcons are ahead 14-7, and needless to say, had a good reaction to that one. Better be. Anton Smith catching his breath. His play, the big play, in that 3-play drive that took 1 minute and 20 seconds. I should say his reception. And then run after the pass from T.J. Yates. So Bosher to kick it off to Jordan Todman. Under 9 minutes to go, second quarter. Whistles before we can get going with this. Oh, Halloween came early. Yeah, Lucy pulled that ball off the tee.
Those kickers, they tee the ball up at such really strange angles that I don't know if you can create a tee to hold the football. They've now gotten to where it's like a dish. They put a ball in a dish and they smash the nose of the football and get it in there the way they want it. So it's just teetering there precariously waiting to be kicked.
You've just heard a former position player speaking about kickers. Yeah. Those kickers. This kicker sent Todman to the back line they'll take over at the 20 now. Anton Smith, he's had a couple big plays in the preseason, but they were called back because of flags. Against Miami, 34-yard reception and score. Illegal formation on that situation. Second quarter, this one was called back due to a holding call on the rookie Jake Matthews. This time around, however, that man caught the pass from T.J. Yates, turned it into a touchdown play, and that was an answer for the big play that came from Jacksonville on the pass from Blake Bortles to Marquise Lee. Stephen Morris still at quarterback for the Jaguars. From their 20, and Morris to throw. Finds the receiver Cecil Shorts the third, sitting down in there between defenders, and that is good for a first down. 17-yard gain.
We talk about the running backs and Steven Jackson having not played at all in the preseason. I think you like what you've seen out of the guys that have played. They've done an outstanding job of creating a run game and some explosive plays.
Robinson is stacked up on a play to the right side, be the Falcons' left defensive side. That's Stanley Laponga over there to beat Denard Robinson.
Defensive front's been extremely active tonight. We've seen a couple of sacks. Bierman was in on a sack. We saw Osi Umenyiora get a sack earlier. That's the second time Laponga has been in the backfield. So even though you've rotated some other players in, some guys really competing hard to try to be one of the 53 on this team to help contribute.
Morris going to be under pressure from Bartu, but gets it off and gets it to an open Denard Robinson. And when Denard Robinson has some room, he can make some people miss, which he did, but there's also a flag down on the play, a 21-yard play if it stands.
Yeah, I think Mike Brown, the wide receiver for Jacksonville, may get flagged for a hold here.
Holding. Offense, number 12. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
You got it, Arch.
There's really no reason to hold out there because Denard Robinson caught the ball in the flat with a lot of room and does what he does in the open field. And Brown trying to hustle, looked like he was holding Sean Baker, the safety. So that play comes back and it's not a first down, just second and medium now. It's a defensive unit that needs to sort out some of the zone. They've had a couple of zones they've dropped here since this unit's been on the field.
Second and 5. Morris, he's got a pretty decent arm. That one's off the mark a little bit. And you know, Arch, you can see the defensive backs on a play like that. It's almost like they're looking up expecting a flag now after a play.
Yeah, it is crazy how they've kind of conditioned their minds over the last few weeks. Good play there by Robert McClain to close, playing outside technique. Curl route, puts his foot in the ground and drives towards the ball. Another one of those veteran players that you count on to be a core special teams guy, but also play in those 5 and 6 defensive back groups.
3rd and 5. Hearns and Brown are wide right, but Morris is looking left and throws it for Shorts, and it is knocked away. Incomplete. Josh Wilson on the cover.
Yeah, really tight coverage that time by Josh Wilson. He's another one of those guys that's in a fight to be on the field, maybe in those 5 defensive back scenarios. And all these guys that are playing, Robert McClain, Josh Wilson, Javier Arenas, if you do have something go wrong with those 2 starting corners in Alford and Trufant, these are the guys that are going to have to step in and play.
Bernard Reedy stands at his 15. Field the punt from Redfern, the rookie. And Reedy's got a couple of white shirts in front of him. Can he break away? Nope, but he's up to the 33-yard line. And that's where the Falcons will take over. Brandon Bard the coverage. 40-yard punt, 15-yard return. TJ Yates back at the helm for the Falcons here. He's 5 for his last 5, 128 yards and 2 touchdowns against this Jacksonville defensive personnel. 1st and 10 for the Falcons on the 38-yard line. Devontae Freeman is the running back. Yates, the play fake, and deep ball, wide open, and connects with Freddie Martino, and the Falcons counter that Bortles to Lee play again with a deep ball of their own, 62 yards.
No, I love the design on the play. Little two-man route out of the slot. Martino fakes like he's going to run the dig, and we'll show it to you. Martino, they're lined up on the left side of your screen. Martino bends a little inside, and really a well-thrown ball. Good protection, clean pocket for Yates. Yates put great trajectory under the ball. Let Martino run underneath it and pulls it in. Outstanding job by all parties involved. It starts with the offensive line, the protection. To hold the ball that long at a play action, to wait for that to develop and let Martino get open tells you a lot about the offensive line play up front. Very nice job, and then really well-thrown ball by TJ.
And by the way, that offensive line up front had a lot of new faces in there. It wasn't the starting unit, if you will. There was still one guy in there, Karimi, who's been playing a lot, but they also had some new faces in front of TJ Yates on that play.
See a lot of guys excited about big plays. That's what energized the sideline. Here you go. He's going to cut. He came down in motion right here. Now he's going to come up the field and kind of bend like he's going to go here, and then hits it straight up the field. The post route on the inside is going to hold the free safety. Reedy's going to hold the safety there, and then it's Martino one-on-one on the corner. He blows by the corner. Excellent throw from TJ Yates with the trajectory, as I mentioned. Let Martino run underneath it. And that's one of those kind of plays that you like those kind of drives. Come out, one play, put points on the board.
Jay Schrader was at left tackle on that play. Harlan Gunn was in the offensive line. As we mentioned, Karimi, and that's a happy young man right there.
Well, it's a neat play for Martino. First opportunity really to make a play. We talk about the preseason and what this game means to guys like Mike Martino, a guy that hadn't gotten to play a lot. But he gets an opportunity, steps up, the ball's in his area. Can you make the play? He did. Now, does that factor in him making the club? Maybe not, but it might factor him to making another club. Remember, all the other teams are watching these tapes. This is so valuable for all these players.
Bosher booms it through the end zone. Don't forget to visit AtlantaFalcons.com contest right now to win Falcons tickets and autographed memorabilia. Multiple winners will be chosen tonight. AtlantaFalcons.com/contest. Of course, Martino played his college football in Division II at North Greenville.
Yeah, their coaches spent some time at the Falcon training camp this preseason watching and taking notes down. They do a nice job at North Greenville.
Morris rolling right. Okonga was there waiting on him, but Morris got the pass off to Marcel Jensen.
Again, Stanley Mapunga showing some of his number 90, showing some of his versatility. He's dropped off in coverage. That time he got out in space and made a tackle on a tight end. He's lined up right up here as the defensive end. He's one of the draft picks from a year ago.
Kansas 6, 2nd and 4. And there's Denard Robinson. That is not going to be enough for a first down.
Mapunga on the tackle, just the guy we just circled.
Yep. Sets up a 3rd and 4.
There's Stanley, guy that came in. Talked about he was a little stiff in his pass rush, spent some time working on it, worked on the body, changed the composition of the body, a little sleeker. And he's had a decent preseason. Another guy factoring in, trying to make this team.
Mike Brown in motion in front of Stephen Morris. Falcons send 4. Do not get to the quarterback, but getting to the ball in time to knock it down on that play. Robert McLean.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Randy. Robert McLean undercuts the throw and does an outstanding job of getting the Falcons off the field on third down. Bobby Mack, 27, playing in the slot. This is an area he's going to play in the games against New Orleans potentially, at nickel back spot. Somebody coming across in motion, maybe a Brandon Cooks or somebody like that, or he's got to shadow that quick out. That's a throw that Breeze likes to make in that situation. And Robert McLean all over to knock it away.
Reedy again at punt return. This is a high and deep kick. Reedy retreating to his 15. Got a little bit of room, got a flag down, stopped at the 22 or 23 at a 60-yard punt, but we'll check the flag in just a second here. When we get to the sideline, Laura will be with a guy who knows something about returning punts. Hint, hint.
During the return, illegal block in the back above the waist, number 7 of the return team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Penalty on Jeremy Ebert. Here's Laura with Devin Hester.
Well, I'm about to lose Devin Hester because it's like this game is a regular season game the way he is watching the return game right now, which leads to my first question. When you watch a young guy who's trying to be Devin Hester, biggest tip you give when it comes to the mentality of a return man is what?
Just making sure you secure the kick. That's one of the most important thing right now, especially for rookies. They're so excited, to get an opportunity to come out here and play this game of football. But the one thing I tell them is focus on catching the punt, the kickoff, and once you do that, just let your natural talent just take over everything.
When do you know it's a home run ball, and what does a home run ball look like?
Kickoff return, you can't really tell, but punt return, you get the low line drive balls. That's hang time is like up under 2.5, and you got a chance to attack the defense before they get up on you.
Week 1 I talked to you, and you said your job here was to be a return man and, play a little offense. 2 touchdowns later and about 7 catches. Do you want to change that answer at all? Would you like a little bigger role in the offense than just a little bit?
What's going on right now is satisfying to me. The way they've been using me in the preseason, I hope it could continue to carry over in the season. But the way things looking, who knows?
What would you, if you were going to be the offensive coordinator, not to get Dirk Cutter and you in a fight here, but if you were going to be, how would you use you? What would be the ideal way you'd like to be used in this offense?
Pretty much the same way that they've been trying me out as of right now, from practice to coming over, carry over in the preseason games, the way they've been using me out in space, putting me on one-on-one matchups, is perfect for me.
What do you bring? How do you make this offense, this already dangerous offense, even more so? Adding to Julio and Roddy and Harry, now adding 17 to the mix. What nightmares does that, or how does that create nightmares for the defense?
I just want to add another tool to their toolbox, another tool. And when a tool, a guy that builds and works life, he has a lot of tools. His job will be done, get done pretty much easier than what has been done.
I followed you for 8 seasons in Chicago, Devin. I don't think I've ever seen you smile as much as I've seen you this preseason. Are you having as fun of a time here in Atlanta as it looks like?
Oh, yeah, most definitely, man. This is a great place for me. The quarterback and the receiving, the O-line, welcome me with their arms wide open, and it couldn't be in a better place than I am right now.
Great seeing you. Have a terrific season. Thanks, Devin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Devin Hester.
They talk about a simple message to the young returners: catch the ball. I thought that was great. I mean, it's exactly right. Nothing can happen unless you catch the ball.
Well, trying to catch it here for Jacksonville is Ace Sanders, the former South Carolina Gamecock in his second season. Fair catch for him, so that's where Jacksonville will take over, a 39-yard punt.
Well, again, Atlanta couldn't overcome a penalty, so it continues to plague the team being consistent offensively, moving the football.
4th-round pick out of South Carolina is Ace Sanders. He was absent for a few days from this team.
I'll tell you what, he's a dangerous guy. I just asked Georgia.
Yeah, good point. Folks in and around the state of Georgia have seen him on previous occasions. Morris hands it off to Jordan Todman. Todman fighting up over the 45-yard line.
I like that I'm seeing more Falcon defenders flash in the backfield, Randy. I think we've seen that develop over the preseason, but you're seeing it more and more tonight. We mentioned Mapunga. That time Jonathan Massaquoi flashed in the backfield. Now, some of it means you be careful not to get run out of the play, but when you're getting penetration, it's disrupting the blocking scheme, and it clouds the look for the running back.
Rolling out and throwing and completing the pass is Morris to Marcel Jensen, who's been a frequent target tonight. Arch, do you think part of that is more guys getting more comfortable with Mike Nolan's system?
Well, it could be. It could be that guys realize that their job's on the line.
Yeah.
I better flash and do something. But yeah, I think that there's no question as these young players. Remember how many young players the Falcons played defensively a year ago.
Right.
That Mike was forced to play a number of guys that weren't ready to play at the National Football League level, but injury forced his hand. And so now all that experience comes back, and I think we're starting to see some of that flash thing.
3rd and 4, and Jacksonville's 0 for 5 on 3rd down. Make that 0 for 6 on 3rd down now in this game. Alan Hearns was the intended target. He's caught a lot of balls in the preseason for Jacksonville in their 3 games up till now.
A good bull rush that time by Stanley Mapunga. If you're a quarterback trying to throw it out of that hole that is the pocket, and if you're getting an offensive lineman pushed back in your face, very difficult to transfer your weight and pull the ball down to the receiver. That time Mapunga took the left tackle and shoved him right in Morris's lap.
So Bernard Reedy, the rookie from Toledo, stands on his 10. Whistles as the punt went up in the air.
False start. Offense, number 16. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
Zane Beadles, the penalty for Jacksonville.
Zane Beadles, the starting left guards on the punt team.
That's
I think
what
that's
I'm
the wrong
wondering.
number.
I think that's the wrong number.
That's not right.
Either that or we're on the wrong planet.
Brad was given the wrong number.
I don't know.
He's not in the game.
That's what I thought when I heard 68. Well, this one is right where Redfern wanted it, and good coverage by the Jaguars punt cover unit.
Good help by Denard Robinson right there.
Yep. 55-yard punt. If it had been 57, the Falcons would be on the 20. Now here, let's talk about the backfield situation. Freeman, Rogers, Smith, they've all gotten a lot of work in the preseason.
Well, they've all gotten a ton of work, and they've all delivered. I think all of them have flashed and shown what they can bring to the table. Devontae is a multifaceted guy that can catch it and run it. Quiz Rogers showed tremendous amount of ability to step up and block. I think when you look at his size, you think, wow, he's going to be a pro. He steps up and shortens people's necks on blitzes, and we saw what Anton's been able to do. We took it to the house here with the screen play.
Full back up the middle. Try to grind out a little bit of room there. Freeman was a running back, but he stuck it in the belly of Maurice Higgins.
A little crumb for Higgins. Most times the fullbacks don't get to touch the football in most offenses, but this is one that you don't see him touch the football much.
Gained 2 yards, and we're near the 2-minute mark. There's Freeman bouncing outside to the first down marker, and I think he got that first down. Yes, he did. Leroy Reynolds over there to get him. 10-yard gain for Devontae Freeman.
Boy, excellent vision by Devontae to get to the edge. Good blocking on the outside by Schrader.
Well, Gus Bradley's defense couldn't get Freeman before he got the first down. 2-minute warning, second quarter. Falcons up 14. Falcons offense has rolled up some yards here in the first half. Most of those when TJ Yates was under center. He's still there on a 1st and 10 play after the Freeman gain for a first down. Cannot escape this time, however, as he's trapped in the Falcons backfield. Speaking of a rookie from Florida State, rushed 10 times for 50 yards against the Dolphins. Had a 57-yard catch in that game as well at Houston. Going down the sideline there, he ran for 31 last week against Tennessee, 33 receiving yards, and ran for 11. So he has shown his versatility. Got a timeout on the field here right now with 1:54 to go.
Yeah, I think the only thing you're pretty sure you don't want him doing is protecting for the punter. Other than that, he's done a pretty good job.
That didn't go well in Houston, did it?
No, I don't want him protecting for the punter, but he did a nice job of showing his ability to catch the ball in the backfield, adjust the football. He certainly has done a nice job running the ball since he's been here, but that's an area he's going to have to work on, that punt protection thing.
On that play in Houston, I thought Keith Armstrong was going to go rodeo and roping and drag him into the sideline and talk to him after that. Josh Vaughn into the Falcons offensive unit here.
That's a good job by TJ to take care of the ball on his own end of the field. He's played really well this half. He's gotten the ball out on time. Done a nice job protecting the football. He's made some big-time throws when he needed to. This really is the TJ Yates, I think, that the Falcons envisioned when they traded Akeem Dent for him and bring him in here with he's got some experience playing in the league. We mentioned his playoff win, and really his first win of his career was over this Falcon team in their building in Houston a few years ago as a rookie, his rookie season. So this is the guy they expected to get, and he's played at a really nice level this evening.
3rd and 3 if the Falcons are going to maintain possession here as we approach halftime in Jacksonville. Yates, that's complete to Vaughn. And Vaughn going for the chains.
Yeah, you got the first down, but he's going to get out of bounds, Randy, and that's another thing. You want to get out of bounds. Good job by the Jags defender to make the tackle here and keep him from getting out of bounds, but that keeps the clock moving.
Yates wants to throw it again, connects again, but that one was stopped immediately on the 30-yard line after Reedy caught it. Another timeout. We saw Mike Smith on the sideline there for a moment. I'd forgotten until I started kind of going back over how good this defensive unit was here under Mike Smith. At halftime, by the way, we're going to have a sneak peek at 2 new shows here on CW69. We'll answer some of your best tweets as well on our social media segment, and we'll take a look at the first half highlights of this game. From 03 to 07, when Mike Smith was the coordinator here, 3 times his defensive units were in the top 10 in the league.
Yeah, he had 2 big nasty guys in the middle of his defense too.
Yates. Freeman. Another first down.
And if I remember, Marcus Stroud playing in the middle of this defense. 2 big defenses that with John Henderson, the other defensive tackle, I believe.
Well, it's been an interesting preseason around the NFL. In fact, a painful one, of course, for St. Louis. Sam Bradford. Bradford injured the knee. In Cleveland, it's Hoyer over Manziel in a quarterback derby. Cam Newton says he'll be ready for the opener, says he will play. He's been ailing a little bit. Wes Welker concussion in his team's 3rd preseason game. His status for week 1 at the moment undetermined. Boy, Yates patient, waiting, finding Freeman after Freeman took part in the play action fake. Freeman got the ball, took a hit, held on to the ball, and the Falcons still controlled it at under a minute.
Chris Smith, the rookie from Arkansas, lowered the boom on Freeman on that play.
Yates has him on the move to Schuler to the sideline and successfully out of bounds.
Well, you just like the comfort zone that TJ is in right now. Only 2 balls have hit the ground for TJ tonight. He's done an outstanding job at distributing the ball. The ball's coming out on time. Saved the 1 play where he was sacked. Jake Matthews tried to cut on the quick play down on their own goal line. He held on to it, was sacked. That was a mistake by him as well as Jake, but he has really done a nice job of getting the ball out of his hand on time.
At midfield now with 45 seconds in the second quarter. That is over Schuler's head. Looked like he broke off the route to something that Yates did not expect.
Yeah, and I think TJ signaled to the sideline, that's on me. He was expecting Mickey to hit it, and you see him tapping his chest right there. He's talking about that's my fault. He was expecting Mickey to hit it up the seam, and that read had Mickey setting it down, and so that one's on TJ. He took the blame for it. See him tapping his chest.
Only took 4 seconds. Second down at the 50. Time again, but has to roll out to his right now. Vaughn juggled it and lost it. So that'll stop the clock with 36 seconds to go. Make it 3rd and 10.
Probably better that Josh Vaughn didn't catch the football there. He was not going to get much out of the play, and you were going to have to burn a timeout right there. So, but it is 3rd and 10.
Combination of good clock management and Jacksonville calling a couple of timeouts, hoping they could stop the Falcons from getting first downs, has brought Yates and the Falcons offense to this point where they have a chance to do something here late in the second quarter, but only 36 seconds left. They need a first down here. Good protection, but it breaks down eventually. Yates throws it away wisely. He had no chance. He had nothing going out there.
Another rookie, the Florida State rookie, Telvin Smith, is going to the one that's going to usher him out of bounds here. Looking down the field, had good protection, maybe got out of there a little bit too early, a little antsy. And then the Florida State rookie, Telvin Smith, shoves him out of bounds. This has been a Florida State reunion tonight. The Falcons have about, 3 or 4 Florida State players. Jacksonville's got 3 or 4 Florida State players.
Josh Vaughn picked up a former Florida Gator on that previous play, or Yates might have been in trouble. Josh Evans was headed for number 13. And we got whistles before the punt comes off the foot of Bosher.
Flag on the Falcons.
Delay game. Offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Hey, you talk about highlights tonight, Randy, and there have been some good ones. TJ Yates has played extremely well, and I think the offensive line has done a nice job protecting. The defense has created some problems at the line of scrimmage as well. Matt Bosher has played great tonight. Normally don't point out a punter. There were a number of times he pointed him out last year because he was the only highlight a lot of times a year ago. But he is in mid-season form right now. He is pounding the football.
He's down there in Rory McIlroy territory when he pipes it down the middle.
Now his job here will try to be to drop this on the 10-yard line at the very least with a little hang time.
A good technique right there. Looks like he might get exactly what he wanted to accomplish.
How about that?
Talk about on the 10-yard line. Arch, I think he was 1.25 inches off, actually.
Pretty good now. He has had a good night. That's a great weapon for you too. When you've got a guy that can pound it out of your own end zone, or that can drop a team inside the 10, make them have to go the long way. He's a huge weapon for this team.
Well, with 16 seconds left, more than likely, Jacksonville content to get into the locker room after a play. Stephen Morris, the shotgun, and hands it off. Jordan Totten on the carry, and so that looks like it'll wrap up the first half here. A successful one by most standards for the Falcons. End of the first half, 21-7. Stay tuned. Halftime report, Laura Oakman. We'll have a sneak peek at 2 new shows on CW69, answer some of your tweets, and that first half highlights. You're watching Falcons football on CW69. Riverbank Field, Jacksonville, Florida, where the Falcons have a 21-7 lead at halftime. Getting ready to start the third quarter, Randy Waters along with David Archer. Arch, we didn't know how much we'd see some of those starting offensive line personnel, but we saw a lot of them, and we also saw TJ Yates maybe take a big step.
Well, I thought it was a good half for TJ. Certainly some guys around him played well. The offensive line played well. We talk so much about the offense that we don't mention the defense very often. The defense played outstanding in the first half as well. Gave up the one big play, the touchdown throw from Bortles to Lee. 0 for 6 on third down was Jacksonville in the first half, so they got off the field on third down. That's a great sign defensively as well.
Well, they also put a lot of pressure on the Jacksonville quarterback, for the most part, Bortles, and then Stephen Morris came in a little bit later on against some of the guys in the second unit. And so we talked about the running back situation as well. And again, these guys have flashed their versatility for us tonight.
Well, I think the beauty of it is you do have a lot of versatility there, and that's going to make it tough for teams to prepare for.
Well, one of those running backs had a big big play helped the Falcons break a 7-all tie in the second quarter when Anton Smith on our Georgia Lottery first half highlights turns a short screen pass, just dumped it off to him into a touchdown.
Well, the beauty of this, Randy, is it's 3rd and long. That was 3rd and 15. Little screen. Anton shows the explosion, runs through a couple of tackles. Then the first play out of the box on the next drive, TJ finds Freddie Martino down the field on a monster play. 2 huge plays for TJ Yates, but 2 huge plays for the Falcons on offense.
Made it 21-7, and that's where we stand at the half. Rushing yards, not a lot for the Falcons, but Yates has been putting it up a lot. Renfrey did as well when he was in there. And so the total yardage, a big edge to the Falcons. 3rd down conversions.
Well, that was my point of the defense. I think the defense has done an outstanding job on 3rd down, and that really is the money down. How well do you play in the red zone if the team gets there? And your money down is 3rd down. Now, 3rd downs, 0 for 6 equates to a lot of what Laura was talking about with Jay Adams at halftime. How good are you doing on 1st and 2nd down? And they did a nice job on 1st and 2nd down to create those opportunities to get off the field.
Bosher's kick goes through the back line of the end zone, and Jacksonville will take over on their 20-yard line. And it's Morris again at quarterback.
Well, this second half now is a huge half for a lot of these guys who are going to play on both sides of the ball for the Falcons and for Jacksonville as well. I talked about how big the tape is for these guys. Come out, play well, show that they deserve to be at this level.
That's Jordan Todman. He's getting a lot of work for Jacksonville tonight.
How about the penetration of Rasheed Hegman right there? And I talked about how the Falcon defensive front tonight in particular are playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Here's Hegman. He's going to penetrate. Just gets in the backfield. It disrupts things. It clouds the look for the running back. It essentially herds him the direction you want him to go. And then a number of Falcon hats are there to make the tackle. Number 2 draft pick flashing there.
Tyler Starr to the left of Hegman. Morris trying to dump it off. Does to Todman. And he put a move, I believe, on Jaquez Smith out there to get past the initial defender and then pick up some yardage.
Rasheed Hegman again showing the strength in the middle. Watch Hegman come off. There's the strength to butt up, knocks the offensive lineman on his rear end. That's the power that you're expecting out of the big fella. So back-to-back plays now, and this is what you're looking for from him. Can he flash play after play that he's in the game? They want to see him string plays together.
3rd and 6 for Morris and Jacksonville. Got rid of it. That's a nice catch up over the 30-yard line for a first down by Brandon Barden.
Boy, it really was, Randy. He climbed the ladder there. This is an excellent throw. Rasheed Hegman, they try to cut him right there. He steps around and not get the big hands in the air. He tried to, but the catch was really good on that play. Outstanding job of reaching up and snagging that football by Barden.
It was Pat Angerer on the coverage. Couldn't prevent the pass from being completed, and this one is completed as well to Kerry Taylor to the left side. Jordan Maben over there defending along with Ricardo Allen.
Had a chance to see some of these young kids that had big aspirations coming in. Ricardo Allen, you just mentioned his name. He's playing in the slot at the top of the screen, one of the Falcon draft picks.
Mike Brown tried to get away from Allen and couldn't right there. Gain is 7. Xavier Arenas over there as well.
2 quick throws to the outside, using a little bit more tempo here.
Jordan Todman trying the right side of the Falcons defense. Tim Dobbins.
But again,
Sean Baker.
Some early problems created by that guy right there, Travian Robertson. Travian Robertson got in the backfield, got his hands around the legs of the back, slowed him down, and Falcons were able to attack. I really think that's a point that has happened tonight, maybe more so than the other 3 preseason games. We've seen a lot of play by the Falcon defensive front on the other team's line of sight, line of scrimmage.
That was only a 2-yard gain, so this is a 2nd and 8 play, and it's stacked up at the 50. Todman on the carry again. Actually just inside the Falcons side of the 50 there. Jacksonville is trying to see what they can do mano a mano here early in the second half.
This is a great test now, Randy, for Rasheed Hegman. Still in the game. They're trying to up tempo. Let's see if Rashid can stay active in the middle.
Moore's on the run. Maponga giving chase. And that falls incomplete.
Good coverage on the outside that time. Really no place to throw the football. Good pursuit by that Falcon defensive front.
So now 0 for 7 on third down now.
0 for 7 on third down. And that's
1 for 8. Sorry.
Well, that's how you win. That's how you win games. You got to get off the field on third down. Defensively, certainly.
Night falling here in Jacksonville. Bernard Reed will try to catch the ball out of that night sky, or just get over there and get somebody's way as it bounds toward and into the end zone. So the Falcons will take over on their 20. We'll see who comes out at quarterback for Atlanta next. Falcons take over 1st and 10 on their 20, and we'll have, as you see, the defensive players on the sideline going over scenarios. We'll have Sean Renfrey at quarterback from the gun. Renfrey to throw. That's his first completion in 2 tries tonight. That went to Jeremy Ebert. Renfrey had kind of a rough outing during his stint in the first quarter. 12-yard gain there. Was stepped on by the center, coming away from center one time, and just things did not go well for Renfrey in the first half. We'll see what he can get done here in the second half. Had a good start on that completion. From the 32, and it's Devontae Freeman. Short game. There's TJ Yates. Outstanding evening for him, Arch.
Yeah, TJ really did a good job of getting the ball out. This is the most comfortable I've seen him look. The ball came out quickly. He was seeing things very clearly, and it helps when on 3rd and 15 you can dump it to a guy that runs 4-4 to take it to the house. Good protection there. Finds Freddie Martino for the big pass play down the field, but he just looked extremely comfortable. I think it's the best he's looked in the preseason.
Smith with a pulling guard in front of him to the left side. Freeman.
Good, you figure you run the football on 1st down, you get 4. You run the football on 2nd down, you get another 4, 3 or 4. Now it's 3rd and 3. Very manageable 3rd down situation here. And that tells you the offensive line, this group that's in the game now, and you got a number of guys in there. Ramar Holmes still on the field. The right guy that probably is going to start at right tackle for you against New Orleans, still in the game.
Conversion percentage to this point in the game for Atlanta, 4 out of 9. Renfrey trying to keep pace with that. That's complete, but I believe it's short of the mark. Jeremy Ebert the catch, gain of a yard.
Yeah, that's more of a control route underneath, trying to control the underneath coverage, but Renfrey wasn't willing to squeeze the trigger up the field. This is just a shallow drag route. This is a check down, essentially. You see it go to the backs a lot, but really it's a control route to try to influence the intermediate coverage, the linebackers to step up, and then you throw the ball behind them. But Renfrey decided to try to get the ball to Ebert, and he was short on 1st down.
The dangerous Ace Sanders retreating to catch the punt at his 7 to the 20. Many white jerseys, even for a speedy, elusive guy like Sanders. That is a 54-yard kick and a 13-yard return. Big Lamar Holmes just got up. See Harlan Gunn, Peter Kahns, Jeff Stone there. Some of the guys along the offensive line that have gotten a lot of work here, especially in the second half. Late in the second quarter and into the second half. Jacksonville football, 1st and 10. And Stephen Morris rolling right and finding DJ Tialavea. Let's go down to Laura Oakman on the sideline with big number 70, Jake.
And I'm about to make his night, because not only are the Falcons beating the Jaguars, but would you like to know the Texas A&M South Carolina score right now?
What is it?
It is, you guys tell me in my ear, 31-14 Texas A&M.
Oh, Aggies up? Nice. That's what I like to hear.
That's how I like to start an interview.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jake, with a big smile. Because I've heard about you. People said you're not going to get him to say much. And I asked, is it the rookie keeping his head down, or is that just you?
Probably a little bit of both. I'm not the most talkative person, but the guys doing a really good job, really embracing me here, and I really enjoyed it so far. I've learned a lot, and I'm really excited for the season.
Okay, but tell me something that hasn't come easy, because everyone's talked about how you made it look so easy with this transition. Where have you felt like a rookie on the field or off?
Probably just, getting that confidence, playing with that same confidence I had in college where, I knew what I was doing. I know I could get it done and just getting that feeling. But I really feel like this camp, I've really grown in that part of my game, and I feel real comfortable right now with where I'm at. And, especially switching over to left tackle and such a sudden notice. But, feeling good, and I'm real excited for the season. I think I'm going to do a good job.
You glanced over that, and I want to go back to that. You glossed right over it, because what does that do to your head? What does that do to your confidence when camp you were working on being the right tackle, and all of a sudden finding out 2 weeks ago you're sliding to left?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a real sudden change. I've been working at right tackle for a long time, working with John Asamoah, and feeling real comfortable with him. Been with him for the last few months, and then all of a sudden you're over at left tackle, and you got 3 days of practice for the third preseason game. But it's been good. Coach Tice has done a really good job of getting me prepared, and I'm getting really comfortable, and I'm looking forward to this season. Can't say it enough. I'm real excited for this season.
When it comes to that switch, what's the biggest adjustment? Is that physical or is that mental?
I'd say more so mental. It's just being comfortable, getting in its stance and the different stagger, and feeling comfortable, and setting and run blocking, all that stuff adds up. But I take a lot of pride in my versatility and ability to play either side. So I think I did a good job.
Jake Matthews, have a wonderful season. Great talking to you, and thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Guys, back up to you.
Some pretty cool insights right there from Jake Matthews, and he is a man of few words. You and I have had a chance to talk to him, Randy, earlier in the year, and think about the fact that you've locked in for the first 2 months you've been an Atlanta Falcon, and everything you've heard is right brain minded. You're on the right side, all the calls, all the numbers, okay, that's away run, that's run to me. Now all of a sudden in 3 days you got to shift, and now the left side has to kick in, whether it's run away or run to me. All the stuff the Falcons do at the line of scrimmage, very difficult.
Flag down as Reedy takes it at his 6, has some room. He doesn't need much, but he can't get away here. Again, we'll have to check the penalties. 54-yard punt. Falcons defense did a nice job against Jacksonville, again forcing another third down play to come up short for the Jaguars, and Stephen Morris at quarterback. Here's Brett Allen.
There are 2 fouls on the receiving team on the play. During the kick, holding number 40 of the receiving team. That penalty will be accepted and will be half the distance. During the return, there was also an illegal block in the back by number 34. That penalty will be declined. It will be first down. Timeout.
Well, more flags. Falcons marching backward. Back after this. Preseason football is presented by SunTrust. SunTrust helps you organize your money with spending and saving buckets. Set up your buckets at suntrust.com/organize. By the Georgia Lottery, today could be your day. And by Northside Hospital, preferred healthcare partner of the Atlanta Falcons and their fans. See the Falcons backed up on their 3-yard line. Jay Schrader, their number 73, is switched from left to right tackle. Josh Vaughn is in the backfield. And they'll try to get Vaughn out of the end zone. I don't think he made it.
They did.
Did he?
Yep. Half-yard line.
Gerald Rivers met him head on.
A lot of resources around the line of scrimmage for Jacksonville. This is an area where you can touch him down the field. Let's see if Vaughn crosses the line.
Yep, right there.
Yep, steps outside, but a big lick right there as he's stepping out of the end zone.
You saw left tackle Taron Jones in there, and now the Falcons have a 2nd and 12 inside their 1. Didn't get much breathing room there either. Maurice Higgins the carry.
Well, this is now 3rd down. You'll probably expect some pass here, but when you get backed up like that, even though it seems like a dire situation, really is a good opportunity to throw the football because teams are trying to make a play around the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 11. One of a number of plays here lately the Falcons have run with their backs toward their end zone, very close to their end zone. Schuler has it, but is a long way from a first down, so they'll have to punt it away.
Well, and there's the translation of no success on first down. The first play netted you -2 yards. Second play, you got the ball back to the original line of scrimmage, and so 3rd and long, especially backed up like that, Renfree's going to be careful with the football. He's going to dump it in the flat. Now here's we talked about how good this guy's been tonight, Matt Bosher. They need him to hammer one right here.
That one's not as high or as deep as some of his have been tonight. Sanders at his 42 with a flag down. Maneuvering, 40, 35, running out of real estate. Bosher and Sanders, the return man and the punter, and a little encounter there on the sideline.
Well, this is going to get called wrong. I think Bosher's going to get flagged here, but Sanders actually grabs Bosher and pulls him back into him, and Bosher tries to throw him off him. See, watch the end of this play.
Right in his face mask.
Now watch
right
the end of this play. Now he lets go of him, and then Sanders gets back in his face again. See how he had hold of Bosher's jersey? Watch the end of this play. He pushes it in the face mask, so Bosher puts him out, and he lets go of him. But Sanders still got hold of his jersey, and I think Bosher's going to get flagged here.
Well, they're talking about it at the moment.
This is actually should be on Sanders because they both have got hold of each other's jersey. There's really nothing there.
The initial grab was Sanders grabbing Bosher's face mask. Kind of like the punter standing up like that, though, don't you, Arch?
No, you never question his toughness.
No.
I think he was one of our leading tacklers a year ago.
There are 2 fouls, both on the kicking team on the play. During the kick, there was a personal foul, unnecessary roughness by the kicking team. That penalty will be refused. After the play was over, there was a personal foul, kicking team number 5. That penalty will be assessed from the dead ball spot, first down.
See, I think they missed that. I think they're wrong about that. I think that's a bad call. I thought both guys were responsible for the contact out of bounds, but there's so often you blame the defensive player there. I didn't like that.
Well, let's take another look in slow-mo here of the Sanders versus Bosher Thursday night fights. Matt Bosher on the sideline after being flagged by this crew. That was another 50-plus yarder, 52 yards on the punt.
He just didn't have the, you mentioned when he kicked it, he didn't have the hang time on it.
Right.
All right, well, this is a similar situation, a sudden change situation where you got a short field. Falcon defense needs to come in and rise up here.
New quarterback, Ricky Stanzi, rolls out to the right and finds the receiver, Barden, the tight end. Stanzi was picked up on waivers last year from the Chiefs. Played his college football at Iowa, gained 7.
He's in his 4th year, as you mentioned. He's never played in a regular season game in his career, although he's notched for. He stood on the sideline and watched in Kansas City and some places, but never played in a regular season game.
Handed off on a 2nd and 7 play, or 2nd and 3 play, excuse me. Storm Johnson, the ball carrier there.
Another play in the Falcon, make a play in the backfield. Travian Robertson, number 92. Jaquez Smith flashes early, number 45. Jaquez Smith's going to flash, but Travian Robertson's the guy that's going to make the play, number 92. Just stay down the line, big fella, closes, and drops the hammer for another play in the Jag backfield.
Guy who had the hammer fall on him is from Loganville, Georgia, by the way, and Central Florida. Storm Johnson was carrying the ball. It's 3rd and 7 now. Stanzi in the shotgun. The ball rolling back outside the 25-yard line. Stanzi had it, just threw it up for grabs, and it falls incomplete. Massaquoi was back there paying him a visit.
Yeah, Massaquoi and Mapunga And now you're going to get an intentional grounding call, I would think, is Brad Allen's call here.
I would think.
Intentional grounding, number 2, offense. Loss of down, 10-yard penalty, previous spot.
We'd love for that to be a spot foul. I thought that was a spot foul. Yeah, that's a spot foul. That's a huge penalty now. That pushes them all the way back to a 50-plus yard field goal.
We're getting up there near the 2013 preseason average for penalties.
Well, that penalty, Stanzi's mistake now. That ball moves all the way from would have been spotted a 10-yard penalty at the 25, all the way back out now, a 51-yard field goal attempt.
The Wofford rookie, Casey Redfern, from the left hash, away cleanly, and no good.
How about that defensive effort, though? You have the penalty, pushes the ball to the 15-yard line, and that defense comes in and shuts the door. No points given up.
Mike Smith loves the game in general, loves defensive effort in particular. And as you say, Arch, he had to like that. Matt Ryan on the left, Mike Smith on the right. Mike was just talking to Dirk Cutter, who, of course, was the offensive coordinator here in Jacksonville from 2007 to 2011. And Smitty was here as the D coordinator from 03 to 07. Sean Renfrey and the Falcons offense taking over. Eric Weems in motion from right to left. And here's Renfrey to throw on the money to Weems. Hit right away, but spins away, and he is right at the first down marker on the reception. And that's about a 10-yard pickup.
I think Eric has a really an outstanding opportunity to make the club. We obviously know that he was cut by Chicago, went up there, signed a nice contract as a free agent a few years ago. Outstanding special teams player here prior to that with the Atlanta Falcons. And I think because of his know-how and his veteran moxie that he has on special teams, he's a serviceable wide receiver. He's got a real good shot at making a club.
Play action, and wide open is Freeman. Devontae Freeman down the left sideline, getting some extra yards with that quickness of his. Saw the Seminole streaking down the sideline, former Seminole, Sherrod Martin, and that's a 21-yard play.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk with Matt Ryan earlier today before we came over for the game, and Matt was talking about how fun it is to be able to drop it off to these backs, and the next thing you know, they make somebody miss, and it's a 20-yard game. And he says that it kind of reminds him a little bit of some of the things they were able to do in 2012, where they were having to run the ball a little bit, but they were dumping it off and getting some good stuff out of it.
Well, look at the nice stutter step by Freeman there to cut it back inside. Sherrod Martin again on the tackle. Boy, Devontae Freeman is, he's decided to punch in tonight. He's punched the time clock. No, it's a blue-collar effort.
I would agree with you, and I think that's what's been cool about him since he got here. I think that's kind of the way his mentality has been since he's been with the Falcons. Is he is going to punch the time card. I think you'll love that. You know you can count on him.
Renfrey unloads it to Freeman. Catches and gets inside the 15-yard line.
These are the little things that I think Sean does a real good job. Renfrey does is he knows where all his checkdowns are. He knows the offense so well, having spent time in it a year ago and watching Ryan, that these are the little kind of throws that Ryan makes. When he's in trouble, under duress, he finds the checkdown for something positive. Maybe only 3-4 yards, but it's a big 3 or 4 yards to either move the chains or to put you in a manageable down and distance situation.
And as they enter the Ford drive zone, it's Josh Vaughn, good running back, Weems in motion. Higgins at fullback. He'll try to help clear the way for Vaughn, but Vaughn is stopped just inside the 15. So this is, to this point, certainly, Arch, the best sequence of plays for Sean Renfrey. As we said, had a rough time in the first half, but he's picking things up here in the second half as well. 21-7 Falcons lead. Back to Jacksonville after these messages. You're watching Atlanta Falcons football on CW 69. One more quarter to go. Back at Everbank Field in Jacksonville, Falcons have a 2nd and 9 on the 14-yard line of the Jaguars. 3 receivers left for Sean Renfrey. Weems in motion now, back to the right side.
Showing blitz right here. Renfrey thinking about checking out of something.
He had time over the middle, and that's complete inside the 10-yard line. Josh Vaughn, who came out of the backfield.
Good job by Renfrey to see that they're going to bring 2 extra guys to that side. You see how he got the line to slide to the protection. There was no clean or free rusher. That's his knowledge of what they're doing and trying to get things changed up front to be in a good situation to still stand in there and throw it.
Martino and Reedy right. Weems left. And Renfrey to the back of the end zone, incomplete for Weems, and somebody's hat came off. I guess that's Eric's. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's just a little too tall. That's a throw that the Falcons work on, but they don't work on it with a 5'10" wide receiver. They work on it with 6'3" Julio Jones to throw that tall ball near that end line. Let one of those guys go up and get it, but he's too tall for Eric Weems to go get it.
First time Renfrey could not connect when he went to the air on that drive, and so they'll try to get 3 out of it with Matt Bryant from 27 yards out. That should be duck soup for Bryant, and indeed it is. So Matt Bryant tacks on 3. Falcons in control of this affair, 24-7. Atlanta to kick it off with 14:15 left to go here in the fourth quarter in Jacksonville, where the Falcons are in good position to end the preseason 2-2 in the win-loss column. And more importantly, I think they got some things out of this game, and especially the game before this, preseason game number 3, that they wanted to see to prepare for the Saints. So Bosher to kick it, and Denard Robinson is deep. That's a line drive kick that Robinson takes on one hop. Here comes a former Michigan signal caller, and he is taken down outside the 25-yard line. Sean Baker among the Falcons down there on the special teams coverage.
Boy, all those situations, Randy, are so important. These guys, there's so many guys that are running down on that kicker that are right on the edge of whether they're on the team or not, and that's how they're going to make it. And are they running? Are they using the right technique that Keith Armstrong's teaching? All that stuff will be evaluated, and good job by Ricardo Allen to get him on the ground, but certainly they don't want the return out to the 27-yard line.
It's still Ricky Stanzi at quarterback for Jacksonville. And I know Falcons are on defense, but I have an offensive question for you after this play, Arch. That's a short gainer for Jordan Todman. We've seen a lot of different situations in the offensive line tonight. We've seen Ryan Trader play left tackle, right tackle, saw a little bit of Taron Jones. Now, we heard from Big Jake a while ago. Mm-hmm. We've seen Luke Jokel, who was the predecessor at Texas A&M to Matthews. We've seen Taylor Lewan in the preseason from Tennessee. We've seen Juwan James from Miami. In the big picture, as we've watched Jacksonville with the completion past the 40-yard line, that's Todman with the catch and a flag down. In the big picture, from what you've seen of Jake Matthews, and there's been a lot of talent coming out of the draft in that position. The first 2 picks last year were left tackle.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask, 52, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
In the big picture, does he stack up as well as anybody as you've seen in a while?
Absolutely. I mean, Jokel only played 5 games a year ago. He didn't even line up for his team. So, and let's hope that Jake stays healthy and is able to stay on the field. Taylor Lewan wasn't
be a backup.
He wasn't even starting. Yeah. So I have not seen Greg Robinson yet, and I would assume that he's had some moments this preseason as well.
Stanzi deep down the middle, and that's complete to Mike Brown inside the Falcons' 10-yard line.
That's a good job by Mike Brown. Stanzi throws it up. He knows he's got a receiver that's got inside position on Ricardo Allen. He does a good job of screening off Ricardo Allen and just goes up and high points the football. That's basic football right there, but really a nice job by Mike Brown to use his body really to block off Ricardo Allen, just simply get the rebound. That's like playing basketball right there.
First and goal at the 8. Brown in motion. Stanzi and the Jaguars stay on the ground with Todman. Got a yard or so. Falcons defenders, as you say, some of them fighting for a position on that roster in there right now. Let's see if they can keep Jacksonville out of the end zone.
Yeah, you got to figure Travian Robertson, number 92, is a guy that's flashed tonight. He's had a decent camp. That guy right there, Jacques Smith, is a guy that's made a lot of noise, some of it by his mouth and some of his actions, and some of it by his play. He's had some decent plays as well, but this is a great moment for these guys to maybe make a play here.
Empty backfield for Stanzi. Looking left, complete, but immediately, 3-4 Falcons around DJ Tialabea.
You know, and that's an infectious attitude as well, Randy, is a lot of hats to the football. That's something that Mike Nolan preaches. Frankly, because of the youth last year, there's Glenn Pires, that's not Mike Nolan, that's Glenn Pires, the linebacker coach for the Falcons. But it's something that they preach is a lot of hats to football. With the youth last year, people not really knowing where to go and move around. You didn't have that. You didn't have the gang tackle. We've seen more of that here in this preseason.
Rare visit to the red zone by Jacksonville on the last couple of plays. That's too high for Kerry Taylor.
He had Taylor in the back of the end zone. Atlanta had lost him along the end line and just too tall by Stanzi. Rashid Hegman, 77, dropping off in coverage. It's one of those 8-man zone scenarios, and Atlanta actually lost him in the back. Just too tall throw by Stanzi.
Well, on a 4th and 5, they'll tell the field goal unit to stay put on the sideline, and Stanzi and company will go for it. That's not going to get it done. Intended for Todd.
Well, good job by Mike Nolan. He comes with an all-out blitz. They go zero coverage. Sean Baker, 29, the free safety, comes clean, and they actually peel Jacques Smith, the left end or the right end, off in coverage. See 29 coming on the blitz. Nobody to pick him up. They confuse the protection, and there's the throw in the flat. No chance.
So the Falcons will take over here in the 4th quarter with 11:03 to go. We're back, and Devontae Freeman is back running the football. Falcons took over deep in their own territory after the stop on 4th down. Sean Renfrey still at quarterback for Atlanta.
Well, Devontae kind of kicking himself. He felt like he was just maybe a broken tackle away from really striking up the band right there and going down the sidelines. But good job of wrapping him up and limiting him to a 3-yard gain.
Ended up with +3, however, on the play. He's been busy both as a runner and as a receiver. You could see a moment ago that one is knocked down. It was going to be thrown in the direction of Bernard Reedy, but it was knocked down. DeAndre Coleman looked like he got a hand on it.
It seems like Atlanta has been the shadow of their own goalposts most of the night, and they are again tonight. There's TJ and obviously Matt Ryan. TJ had a nice night, 15-20, over 200 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Really kind of righted the ship tonight. Struggled the first 3 preseason games. I think some of it was his knowledge of the system and being able, not necessarily not knowing the system, but able to transfer it to the game speed. That's very difficult to do. One thing to write it in the book, it's another thing to make a decision in 3 seconds.
Yeah. Renfrey in big trouble and goes down at the 2-yard line. Dakota Watson.
Another Florida State player.
A lot of them. Lost to 6.
Well, Sean was trying to just didn't have a chance to sort this out. I think the last time Dakota Watson had a sack was against the Falcons about 2 years ago when he was with Tampa Bay. Sacked Ryan. But Dakota Watson trying to find new life here as a Jaguar. Another situation for Bosch to try to pound one out of there.
That's a boomer, too. Look at Ace Sanders retreat quickly to his 35. He's getting some of it back here. As a matter of fact, a good bit of it back. So Sanders to the left sideline after the 63-yard punt from Bosher. And again, Sanders mixing it up a little bit, this time with Freeman. 19-yard return. Falcons football on Atlanta CW69 is sponsored by Kia. Visit atlkia.com to learn more. And by American Family Insurance. Your dream is out there. Go get it. Back at Everbank Field in Jacksonville, Florida, Falcons up 24-7, 9:25 to go fourth quarter. Stanzi and Jacksonville back on offense after Bosher punted it deep and Sanders had a good return. Here's Stanzi, speaking of going deep, Mike Brown off his fingertips.
Well, just couldn't quite get to it. The ball was thrown a little bit inside. It looked like Stanzi maybe late had somebody in his face, but the ball wasn't thrown out on that track for Mike Brown. See, Brown's got to try to get into the inside to get to it, and probably a ball he should have caught, maybe laid out and caught if he was truthful with himself. But chance for a big play right there, and just didn't make it.
Jaguars on the Falcons 41. There's Stanzi again. And that's completed in front of the coverage to Chad Bumpus.
Former Mississippi State Bulldog, Chad Bumpus. Bumpus was one part of Coach Mullen's initial recruiting classes. Got away with a little push-off. I'm not sure how that's not.
Yeah, how's that not flagged?
Offensive pass interference.
I think perhaps it's official fatigue. That's the reason we didn't see a flag there. Their arms are tired.
Yeah, they must be fatigued on that one. Looked like Bumpus got away with a little push-off.
Brings about a first down, though. Comes Brown in motion toward the right hash mark. Pass complete to Brown to the 26-yard line or so. Don't forget, Falcons fans, you can shop with the only official retailer of the Atlanta Falcons. Visit officialfalconsgear.com. That's officialfalconsgear.com for the best variety and prices. Look good when you rise up. Second and 4.
You talk about a guy trying to make a team. Mike Brown is one of those guys really fight. He's had a good night tonight and couldn't quite get to that long ball, but he's had some pretty good catches tonight trying to make a club.
Here's Todman going left, getting to the corner. Smith was in pursuit. Javier Arenas out there on the play. That's a 9-yard gain. Well, and we've seen number 88, Alan Hearns, who is a free agent from Miami, who has, from everything you see and hear, has made this Jacksonville team.
Well, he leads the team in preseason receiving, no question about it. And he's a kid that's got great speed, so they like him. But Mike Brown just made a really good block on that play. So number 12, trying to carve out a niche for him here at Jacksonville, or certainly put some good tape out there for somebody else to pick him up.
Stanzi overthrows an open Eric Catani in the flat.
Yeah, you talk about a guy trying to make a team in Ricky Stanzi. He missed a couple of open throws. Stephen Morris did a decent job moving the football team. They didn't put any points on the board, but he did a decent job while he was in the game moving the team. So Stanzi, the fourth-year guy to Iowa, trying to battle for that third spot, maybe a third quarterback spot on this team.
Yeah, Chad Henney's going to be the starter. We did not see him tonight. We saw Blake Bortles, then Stephen Morris, and now, of late here, Stanzi. It's a screen to the left side, and that's inside the 5-yard line to Jordan Todman.
I love that call down here in the red zone, down in the Ford drive zone. It's such a good call. A lot of teams will play zone down here. And when you got defenders turning and running to their zone areas, it's neat to get that little 2-count screen with a couple of linemen out in front, and you can kind of set up a little return scenario for the back.
First and goal at the 3, and this is Todman, and he is in.
Well, too many short field opportunities really for Jacksonville, and ultimately Todman going to get in behind. Go ahead and let it roll, guys. Todman just gets in behind. Good solid job up front, coming off, putting a hat on a hat, and he just ran to daylight. And really a nice run by Todman, but kind of was a you know, the bricks kind of falling down ultimately on this defense that's in the game. There's been too many short field opportunities for them.
Redfern adds the extra point, so this is now a 10-point Falcons lead with a tick under 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter of preseason game 4. Back at Everbank Field, Jacksonville, Florida, where Falcons lead at 24-14. Just under 7 minutes to go. Mike Smith ready to get his club a win, get home, get ready for the Saints. A little work to do before that last step can be accomplished, however. Bernard Reedy is ready to take the kick from Redfern. See if Jacksonville tries anything tricky here. They do not. Here's Reedy. Over the 20. Not by much, but over the 20. Mike Brown on the coverage.
Well, you mentioned Smitty, Randy. This will be a sleepless night for the head football coach. It'll also be a sleepless night for Thomas Dimitroff because of everything that's going to happen. To go from 75 to 53, they've gotten to know these players. They've gotten to know a lot about them, not just what they do on the field, but personally, what their families are like. That's really what the Falcon organization is about. And so there's a lot of emotions tied up in this thing. Now you got to try to eliminate that. Obviously, he and Thomas are going to pick the best 53 guys that fit on this team, but it doesn't mean that it's not tough to see some of these guys walk out the door, because there has been a lot of investment of time and emotion to spend with these players.
Let's go down to Laura Oakman.
I'm standing here. Get ready for this excitement, Anton Smith. You are the SunTrust shining moment of the game. We're going to show that 66-yard touchdown of yours. Do you think you can find something to say over it as we watch?
I'm pretty sure I will.
He told me right beforehand, what should I say? Let me say that. All right, here we go. Take us through it.
Good throw by TJ. Good blocking down the field by the offensive line. Everything else pretty much history. Speed, look back, nobody was there, touchdown.
Did you have a little more excitement going on in your head than just how you sounded right now?
I am excited. I mean, you want to come out with impression, and you're up for your job, you're fighting for jobs, and so I think I made it pretty good. I think my training camp was pretty good, and preseason pretty good, so we'll see how it turns out tomorrow.
I think a lot of people would use a stronger adjective than pretty good. What's been the difference? We're used to when you have the ball flashing, but it's been every time you've had the ball this preseason, if it's special teams or if it's in the run game. Is there something you're doing different, or is it opportunities or more?
It's more of an opportunity. I mean, I've been very blessed with a lot of talents. I mean, I work very hard at my craft. That's what a special team and running back. I mean, the biggest thing for this year has been having an opportunity. I mean, that's all I ever wanted since I've been here.
Okay, so then how good does this feel when it takes years? You were drafted 2009. You've been doing this for years and waiting for the opportunity. How good does it feel when it pays off like it's been?
It's like a big bear off your shoulders, man. It's a fresh breath of air, you know. I mean, waiting. Like I said, I've been waiting a long time for this right here. And I'm happy it's here. I just got to see how it turns out for the future, and hopefully I have an opportunity to go out and help this team win.
I want to give this opportunity also, besides getting to see you shine on the field. You're one of my favorite guys when I see pregame, postgame, always smiling. The great thing about the preseason is we get to know you guys a little bit, so I'm giving you the platform. We've learned a lot about Harry Douglas. He uses women's deodorant, and Willie Moe has a sick pool. One thing you want everyone to know about you is?
You can always count on me to give my best, no matter what the situation is. I'm going to give my best, and I want to win. That's it.
I love it. All right. It's been so much fun watching you this preseason. Good luck.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Guys, back up to you.
Thank you, Laura. Kind of the patience, the persistence, and payoff story of Anton Smith in the NFL. Renfree tipped at the line of scrimmage, but caught shy of the 40-yard line by Jacob Pedersen.
Yeah, good job by Pedersen to come back and make that catch for Sean to extend the drive for the Falcon offense, and now they can whittle a little more time off. But Anton is a fun guy to be around. I've had a chance to be around him since he's been here as a Falcon, and the tireless time he puts in on special teams, covering kicks, being blocked out of bounds, covering, blocking for other players. He just does a number of things, the unsung things, and it's pretty cool that finally he gets an opportunity to touch the football, and they realize how potent he can be on the offensive side of the ball.
Josh Vaughn Trying to push the pile. There's a flag down on the back end of that pile. On the offense.
Holding. Offense, number 62. 10-yard penalty. First down.
You begin to think in Smitty's mind and in Dirk Cutter's mind, some of the problems that a guy like Anton Smith is going to provide for a defense to get prepared for. When you think about preparing just simply for the backs in the backfield and what each one of them brings to the table, the defense has to respond in kind. They've got to spend time during the week getting prepared for all those different elements that just the backs provide. That's not talking about the 4 wide receivers you're going to want to put on the field.
Reedy with the catch, hit immediately, but look at him break one tackle. Can't break the second one, however, so that's where he's stopped. And you know, Arch, one more thought about what you mentioned about how difficult it is to make the cuts, and it's a job that must be done and will be done. But I thought it was interesting on the most recent Hard Knocks edition when the veteran defensive back Terrell Johnson was released. He told Dimitroff and Smith that this organization, he felt like he was treated like a person and not just a body more than anywhere else he's ever been. I thought that was interesting.
I agree with you, and that kind of echoes what I was talking about the investment that these coaches put in these players. It's not just about, you know, what goes on the field, and obviously that's the most important thing, is what can you do to contribute to the team, but there's a lot more put into it, a lot more investment made by this staff than I've seen, and I played a long time, and obviously was around a lot of different staffs, a lot of stuff there.
Well, Mike Smith and his staff are just minutes away from looking ahead to the regular season now in earnest preparation. Of course, it's Breeze and the Saints at the Georgia Dome to start, then to Cincinnati. Oh, yes, another playoff team back-to-back. Lovie Smith and Tampa Bay come in for a Thursday night game on CBS. Falcons then visit the Vikings. They've named Matt Castle their starting quarterback within the last few days.
Well, that's a short week scenario. New Orleans, obviously, you don't even say anything about New Orleans. New Orleans has owned the Falcons over the last 10 games. That's a game that's paramount in their mind, but the trip to Cincinnati will be very difficult, and then a short week with Lovie's team coming in, game being played on CBS there in the Georgia Dome. Big opportunity to get off to a good start the first 3 games.
Flags down, and Renfrey is now down as well after scrambling out to his left. Looks like Jacksonville.
Holding. Offense, number 67. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Started to say they will decline. And then, back half of the schedule here, Arch.
The thing that's neat about it, Randy, is what the league has done is they've made it a point of scheduling these kind of games at the end of the season. The pivotal divisional games late in the year. Sometimes it used to be that you play New Orleans twice, and it might be in the first 10 weeks of the season, and then you don't have that impactful game at the end of the year. That's something the league consciously made the decision to do, was to schedule those division games late in the year where they had that huge impact.
Bosher to Ace Sanders. Initial move got him a little bit of daylight. A flag down. That's going to be on the return team, I believe. Of course, you mentioned short week as far as the Tampa Bay game is concerned. And then there's a different...
During the return, illegal blocking the back above the waist, number 31 of the return team. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
Different kind of week coming up later in the season, going to London.
Well, the London trip will be an interesting one. Atlanta's done such a great job of going west. I think Smitty's undefeated going west with his team. Well, this is obviously the ultimate in going east with his team when he goes to London. But he does a great job of keeping things the same. I think that's one of his strengths as a coach, is he keeps the atmosphere the same. There's no anxiety as to where you're going to go, what you're going to do. The routine stays the same, and his team responds to that on those long trips. They certainly have when they've gone west. This will be a little bit different animal in going to London. The team will travel to London right after the game in Baltimore. On a Sunday, they will get on a plane and go to London, and then they'll be over the entire week.
Stanzi throwing from his end zone, knocked away on a nice defensive play by Ricardo Allen.
Well, it's a nice play, but he's got to intercept the ball, Randy. I mean, it's neat to say that he did a good job of reading it and he folded back inside, but Here's your chance, young man, to make a play. You got you got to catch the ball.
Got him on the nose, didn't it?
Yeah, you got to catch the football.
Stop the clock with 2:55 in the fourth. And that's knocked away again. Sean Baker this time.
There's another guy that's going to make it difficult on this coaching staff to cut him. Kamal Ishmael has played well, the safety tonight, and this is another guy that Baker that really understands what's going on the field. He directs traffic, does a good job, and he really has had a good camp. He's vying to try to be one of these guys that's maybe that fourth safety on the team that plays special teams as well.
They only burned 3 seconds on that play, but it's 3rd down and 10. And this is to Todman, and he is stopped well short of the first down. So nice defensive sequence for the Falcons.
Well, I think there's been a lot of good defensive sequences tonight, Randy, for the defense. I've really been impressed with the defensive line. I thought they played on Jacksonville's line of the scrimmage, side of the line of scrimmage a lot tonight. They've done a nice job on 3rd down. That's the money down. I've talked about it. And then when they have been backed up and Jacksonville's been able to penetrate the red zone, they've done a good job in that red zone defense of keeping them out of the end zone and keeping them off the board. So there's a lot of positive. We talk so much about the offense, and there's so many stars on that side of the ball. I think the defense has stepped up tonight and played well.
Reedy's back. We'll see if this punt occurs before the 2-minute warning, but it doesn't occur before a whistle. Smells like delay of game to me. We'll see.
Delay of game. Offense. Half the distance. 4th down.
Simon says take a few steps back. Or at least Brad Allen said, so everybody did. And Reedy on the Falcons side of midfield. And not quite down to the 40-yard line. About a 10-yard return, 52-yard punt. 2-minute warning coming up. Falcons up 10 with 2 to go. Final 1:51 here in the fourth quarter in Jacksonville. Randy Waters along with David Archer back at Everbank Field, and Sean Renfrey turns and hands to Devontae Freeman. My partner Dave Archer is about ready to head downstairs to be with you on Inside the Locker Room along with Wes Durham after the game. No. It's been a pleasure, Arch, having you with me in the preseason, just like it was a pleasure to watch you in the NFL. Look at that. Look at this throw. Well, it wasn't a bad catch either one.
Oh, he had long arms.
Woo.
That's why I'm glad I'm up here with you. Nobody hits me in the back anymore, Randy. Wow, you guys reached into the archives here.
Boyd Dixon.
We made a few plays back in the day. A lot of fun, though. Ronnie, I can't thank you enough. You're a real pro. I hope that the fans have enjoyed it. We kind of got thrown together at the last moment, and it's been a lot of fun for me. A special thanks for me goes out to Victor Frank, who's been our producer. He's kind of guided me through. You know, I got training, put the training wheels on me and guided me through. He's done an unbelievable job. A lot of the elements you put together, this CBS team that we've had to work with has been a ton of fun. I really appreciate the opportunity.
I know they are excited to go on to the regular season. They'll be ready for it. And of course, as we pointed out on Thursday night, the third game of the year, Tampa Bay game, is a Thursday night CBS game.
It's been a ton of fun, and I can't wait to see this team take the field for real. It always kind of gets the juices flowing when the Saints come to town, and I look forward to maybe kicking them around a little bit in the Georgia Dome.
Falcons in the victory formation, as we mentioned. Dave's headed for the locker room, inside the locker room with Wes Durham. They'll talk to the players and break the game down for you as Mike Smith and Gus Bradley meet and shake hands after this one is going in the books as a Falcon win following a couple of losses to Houston and Tennessee. In an opening preseason win over Miami, Falcons end at 2-2. As we've told you a few times over the course of this last month or so, though, it's also very much about what you get done as far as your personnel and decisions you have to make. Some of those decisions coming up in the next few hours. Once again, our final score, Falcons 24, Jags 14. For David Archer, Laura Oakman, I'm Randy Waters. Want to thank you for watching Atlanta Falcons football not only tonight, but during the entire preseason right here on Atlanta's CW69. Once again, Falcons take it at Everbank Field over the Jaguars by a score tonight of 24-14. Inside the Locker Room is coming up next for our entire crew. I'm Randy Waters. Thanks for being with us, and good night.